The Yamato. I'd have to look over the details of it, but basically it was my ship. It was an older ship, by the way. It was one of my Japanese ships, pretty much. Like I said, I had a lot of managers and a lot of leaders, and this is all leading up to World War One and World War Two, basically. But the Yamato was one of my ships. They all were. I built every single one of them at one of my shipyards. I had 3 or 4. Like I say, Belfast was one of my shipyards. I built them all. But like I say, with the Yamato, there's a lot of things going on that it all bothered me. I mean, it looked like basically one of my managers or one of my leaders had basically met some American girl and had basically run off with the money. You know, like I say, all my ships were insured, and it was basically my ship, but basically metal value and all that other stuff. But this is all leading up to, see, this, when the Yamato sank and everything, this is in the beginning, before World War One. And before the Japanese have been locked up and all their belongings and possessions have been taken. This is back before the German slaughter, before the death camps, before everything goes bad. This is way back there, before World War One, basically. That's when the Yamato actually sank. Okay, so it looks like so we're doing Panama. A lot of things are going good. Everything's going really well, and this is before Nixon and Jimmy Carter really comes out that they're really bad people. Or, you know, we still don't know that John McCain is going and doing wolf pack and speedos and commando speedos and going and raping people on islands, you know, like Japanese and Chinese. We don't know about any of this. It's going on though. Anyway, though, so but it looks like the Yamato captain has well, I mean, it's kind of weird with the time and space and all that other stuff, but basically, it looks like the Yamato or the Chinese or Japanese president, basically, or leader, basically manager, basically met some girl and then ran off and spent all the money and basically sank his own ship and killed his own crew to cover it up. But it didn't feel right. Like I say, he had spent a long time and he had come from a family of basically of pretty honorable people. So it didn't feel right that he would decide to all of a sudden order his people to kill themselves and then die. It didn't feel right that nothing felt right. It's like, well, why did my aircraft go and attack this ship? That was weird. I didn't order that. And so nothing felt right. You know, it's like, and there was allegations of, well, they bribed the pilot, and the pilot was brought in and said, well, this is the guy, you know, and we got the guy and everything, and you know, and they basically drugged him and found out a lot of stuff that he knew or stuff like that. You know, I mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, you did not want to be any of those people because it was really bad. And basically, Nixon and Jimmy Carter and a lot of the other guys, they wanted to, they did because they were connected to it all. So they wanted to point the blame at the Japanese guy and the Yamato crew. And I was like, no, the Japanese are highly trained. Like I'm not even kidding. A Japanese, when he is a young child, he basically goes into training. He learns hand-to-hand combat. This is the way all Japan was and all China was back then. You would learn hand-to-hand combat. You would then go to school. Then you would, I mean, it was basically just like Germany, where a young boy age, you would basically go to school, you learn hand-to-hand combat, you do all these things. I mean, those people were like gods back then. Or like I don't know, things might have gotten lax when the actual ship sank. But originally, way back before the what's called, I mean, I'm talking about like 5 or 6 generations back. But originally, you would go and you would learn hand-to-hand combat, and then you would learn, then you would go to school. Then you would, especially if you're Japanese or Chinese, then you would learn all this stuff, and then you would get your military career, and then you would go and become a military officer, and you'd be drilled all the time, like let's say you could snap your fingers, and those people would stand at attention and run to their guns. They were like programmed almost. I mean, really, I mean, they were dedicated, and they were really good guys. Like I said, I would die for any one of them. They trained hard, and well, I mean, being an employee of Lucifer White Star Alliance meant that you were really good at what you did, pretty much. I mean, things and there's allegations that school cuts, that he had fired a lot of the teachers or all the teachers, and basically had run off. Basically, pretty much they had stole all the money and basically cruised off, and they didn't really care or something like that. But anyway, though, like I said, they wanted to put the blame on the Japanese guy, the Chinese leader, and I was like, nah, it doesn't feel right. I don't think so. they were going to kill him and they wanted him dead. And I think he was found dead with some girl or something like that. And that's what actually happened to him. But I didn't lock him up. I didn't order him to die. I was like, and one of the American people said, that guy took the easy way out, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't think so. Japan or China, they never take the easy way out. They would fight to the death, and they would, they were willing and ready to die. They would work 23 hours, 25 hours, and then they would apologize for being so exhausted and not being able to work another 30 hours. Like they were the Japan and China and also Germany, they were the best. So anyway, I was like, no, it's not right. It's not right. There's something wrong here. And they tried to say that Japan or China were druggies and blah 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 and this and that. And it's like 3,000 years ago, they were all addicted to opium once. And I said, I think it's a problem. I want you guys to stop. And within 3 or 4 days, and they showed it on TV and stuff. And you could see them shaking and freaking out and everything else like that. And they would go to each other and they would support each other and be like, "You can do this. You can do this." And they kicked everything, even cigarettes. They went down to nothing but tea in 2 weeks' time. The whole nation. Like I say, when it came to absolute devotion and absolute everything, there is no second to Japan and China. There is none. I mean, just imagine tomorrow, one day you're getting high and everything, and the next 3 days, over the next 3 or 4 days or 2 weeks, the whole country kicks every single drug to where they're only drinking light tea simultaneously. That's what they did. We looked. We checked it out. Like, yep. They went from to nothing. Anyway, like I say, after I saw that, I was like, yeah, they're not. No, blame someone else, guys. It's not them. I was like, you don't remember that, do you? So yeah, absolute devotion. No one did absolute devotion like China and Japan. No one. So anyway, and Nixon and John McCain and all the other ones, they made the mistake of thinking that Japan was like everyone else. It's like, no. Like everyone else in Japan and China, those words do not mix ever. No one's like them. No one. So anyway, but they thought, they arranged all this thing and thought that they could just get away with it. It's like, no. Nope. So anyway, so the pressure was still on. I was still digging. Eventually I would get to John McCain and Richard Nixon and a lot of other people, Bush and everyone else. And eventually, and like it was like the cracking of an eggshell. Or like an egg at 3,000 feet. Have you ever seen an egg at 3,000 feet? That's what it's going to be like. It's like gone. Anyway, yeah, so we were just basically digging in, and they were looking for scapegoats right and left, but they couldn't find one, and and I wasn't buying any of it. I was like, no, I don't care about the money, but we're going to find out who did this. Too many people just died. So anyway, and then they were trying to lock up the Japanese and the Chinese and the Germans and the Russians and everyone, and it's like, oh, no, there's something wrong here. I don't know who it is, but we're going to find them. So, and the Irish, they said the same thing. They said, I don't know who this is, but who we're looking for, but we're going to find them. So everybody, it was massive search for them. And basically, because they were blown up cargo ships, they're torpedoing cargo ships, they're torpedoing passenger liners, they torpedoed lots of ships. And so we were looking all over for them, and eventually we were going to find them. So anyway, and they were trying to find scapegoats and everything, and that's what happened with the Yamato and a couple other things. So anyway, yeah. Eventually it'd be like, oh, John McCain.